Hey everyone, Jessica here with another layout for the SpiegelMom Scraps design team, and as always you can save 15% in the shop with my code Jessica15. And today I'm starting this layout with the Simple Stories Pet Shop collection in a pear tree cut file. It has this beautiful paw print inside the love letters and I just love it. So I'm cutting out the middle part of this background paper because I want to save that and use that to probably map my photo with, or at least one of my photos with. So I want to preserve that piece and not use the whole thing because I'm actually going to use a white background. With a big surprise because that's what I've been doing lately a lot. So I cut down my white textured cardstock by color block down to, I believe, 11 inches by 11 inches. I wanted a little bit bigger border on this one. So I cut it down to 11 by 11 and then I distressed all the edges and then I just cut little slits in it and folded them in. And then I just used some of the easy tear tape from the shop and I just attached that to my border piece here. So now that I have that part done, I did some machine stitching around the whole edge just with some white thread, and then I'm gonna pop my photos here just to kind of get my layout going and know exactly where I want everything to go. And I'm gonna start backing my cut file. So I've pulled out my papers here from this collection. I wanted to use that plaid one because I thought that would match with the sequins that I've chosen today, and which were the World Atlas sequins, I believe it's called. And I've pulled out some of these papers. I ended up not using the plaid one, but I'm going to show you two different ways that I back my files. And one is to take my negative piece here. As you see, I've taken my V out, I've placed it right on top of my paper, and I'm just cutting out around it, leaving a little bit of a border for a place to glue onto my cut file from the back side. So that's one way I do that. And then my second way here is I put some liquid Nuvo glue right down directly onto my cut file here. As you can see, I'm outlining my letter L and then I'm sticking it directly onto my paper. I like to do it that way if there's a pattern like this where I want to see exactly what it's going to look like on my letter. So then I just simply cut out around it with my scissors. And then here I'm just attaching my other letter that I've already cut out. I work from the back side. I just attach it with some Nuvo glue there as well. And then I'm gonna fast forward this. I do my E the same way that I did the L. I just attached it directly to the paper and then cut out around it. So here I've grabbed a stencil from Echo Park and I am using some Distress Oxide and Fossilized Amber to just blend in some of these cute little paw prints down across my page. It's just gonna sit right behind my cut file because you're gonna see that peeking through a little bit. And then my photos here, I always put my date stamp my dates on the backs of my photos whenever I print them, so that was me programming in my little date stamp for a little bit later. And this layout, I'm going to use some matting on my photos with these papers. So I'm just pulling in the same ones that I backed my cut file with. I'm not pulling anything new. I'm just backing those photos with another layer just to give it another border around them. So I'm just going to take those and back all of those with those pretty papers and then distress all the edges to give it some dimension and roughness, I guess. I like a little bit of grunge on my layout, so I love to rough up the edges of things with my edge distresser. If you don't have one of those, you can use your scissors as well. And then here you can see those beautiful sequins sitting there. It just matches this collection so perfectly. So here's all my photos. These are some photos of my son a couple years ago when we still had our dog and he was just playing. I think we had just gotten back from camping or something and we were hanging out at our farm by the camper and my dog was just loafing in the grass and my son just loves him and he loves just playing with him. So he was just having a field day, just kind of tackling him and climbing on him, but my dog Roscoe was very, very, very good about it, so he was always very tolerant of the boys. So here, as you can see, I wanted to make a really sparkly paw print, so all I did was I spread across some Nuvo glue on all of my little negative paw print pieces from my cut file, and then I just sprinkled on my sequins. So I just kind of tipped it, and the ones that fell off, I just put some Nuvo glue and I filled in the spaces that needs filled in still, and I just kind of played around with it and did some layering on it just to look like that they were just sprinkled on there. And then here I put Nuvo glue on the back side of it, and I am just moving my photos out of the way. I want to do some splatters on this mixed media part here just to give it a little bit more dimension. So I just pulled out some Distress Oxide spray in Uncharted Mariner, and I just sprinkled some splatters there. So here I'm just going to attach my photos. I'm using my Thermoweb tape runner on this one. It's the Memory XL tape runner, and I'm just going to adhere down my photos, and then I'm going to adhere down that paw print that you see has glue on it already. I wasn't quite ready to put it down, but I already had glue on it, so I'm just going to go ahead and stick it down now. And just placing that exactly where I want it to be first, and then I'm going to put my cut file around it. I did rip it whenever I originally cut the cut file. My Cricut blade might need replacing because it seemed to be dragging up in that one spot, so I will have to replace that soon. So here I'm just dropping in the rest of the paw prints. I found it easier to just apply the glue directly onto my paper and then drop the paw print pieces on there instead of putting the glue on the piece. So that seems a lot easier to me. And then later I'll go in and I'm going to layer up that paw print just a little bit more, a little bit later on, because I can still see a few spots that may need filled in, but I want to let it dry a little bit first. So here I'm just going to start embellishing this. I'm going to add a little piece to my title, so it's going to say Love My Pal. And then I'm just pulling out some various bits from this collection. So I pulled out the die cuts, and this is a little ephemera pack, so I've pulled that out. I'm just digging through there, seeing what else I can add. I really like some of these little word phrases. This one says happiness starts with a wet nose and ends with a tail, which I absolutely love because he was playing with his nose. And then I loved this little tab here that says possum. And I was actually going to use, my title was going to say Possum Pals, but then I decided to use this one instead. So I really like this little thing. I thought that would be good to stamp my date on, but I was having trouble finding a place for it, so I settled on the bottom right there. I thought, why not just keep with the flow, and then I'll add some little wordy bits that are kind of like journaling. So I'm stamping my date stamp using my Paige Evans roller date stamp and my Close to My Heart black ink. And then I've pulled out some of these little puffy stickers and brads to attach to. I find this cute little paw print that I want to place right there by that little wordy phrase. And then I'm going to stick a few of these little phrases down here below that kind of make it look like journaling. I don't really journal too much on my layouts. Usually they're pretty self-explanatory. And this one, I mean, it's pretty obvious that he was just playing with them. So I'm not going to write anything or do any journaling on here. So I like these little phrases for that. I'm just looking to see what else I can use. I saw this little piece of scrap paper. This is actually the back side of one of the pattern papers that I had already used for this layout. So it had these cute little collars on it. So I'm just cutting one of these out to place on the bottom of my layout. So then I'll just attach that as well with some of my tape runner here. And I'm gonna stick both of those down so they're where they need to be. And I'm gonna go back through and actually add some sequins on here too. But I've pulled out this cute little die set that I recently got that has these decorative tags in them. It has little toppers for your tags, and I thought it would just be super cute to tuck some little tags in the top just for some additional layering behind my photos. So I just cut a few out of these pattern papers from my layout that I had scraps here laying, and I am just roughing up these edges. And I did use my manual die cutting machine to cut those out, which is my Big Shot machine. So I'm just attaching down my little wordy bit here. And this one I'm actually going to pop up with some of the foam tape from the shop. And this is the Big Mama foam tape. So I'm just putting that down. I cut a few little strips and I'm just peeling off the backing here. And normally it's not that hard to peel off the backing, but I just cut all my nails off because they were getting on my nerves. So I had a hard time adjusting to peeling those off when I'm used to having long nails. So I've pulled out some of these little adhesive brads. I'm gonna tuck some thread behind them as usual. I like to use some glue dots just for some extra reinforcement for that. So I put a glue dot on, and then I cut a piece of thread and twirl it around behind it, and then I put another glue dot, usually when I remember, on the back just to hold it down to my paper. Found that cute little dog bone. I'm gonna place that right there with another brad over here. I did only put one glue dot on this one because I honestly forgot to put another one behind it, but it seemed pretty sticky, so I think it'll be fine. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put that down. And then moving on, I'm gonna add another little wordy phrase down here because I thought it just needed one more. It's just right there at the bottom, but that's just me being picky about it. I really liked the focal point that's kind of this vertical mixed media design, so I wanted to tuck some things in here up where I added that little notch. So I chose one of the puffy stickers, which is a heart, and then that little paw print from the die cuts. Then I just used my Tim Holtz tiny attacher stapler just to staple down those little flaps. So here you can see I'm adding a few more little sequins to just fill this in a little bit more to make it really layered. I probably didn't need to, but it's just me and me being picky, which is my normal thing. So I added a few more, and then I do go through here and just add some random ones throughout this mixed media spot. So I just love these sequin mixes. I'm really having a fun time playing with all of these for the design team for SpiegelMom Scraps. I just love all of their sequin mixes. She puts together the best mixes and I just love them. So here I am just adding some washi tape. I really wanted to add just a little trim to the bottom of this photo. It looked like it was just missing something there and it was just a little bit naked. So I wanted to just add a little something right there at the bottom of that photo. So here's the finished layouts. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video today. I hope it inspired you to create something. I will link that cut file below for you for Pear Tree, and I will also link the sequin mix for you as well in case you want to grab either one of those from those shops. So thanks again so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye, guys.